They found Nancy's car, and the moment agents saw what was inside, everything changed. Now the FBI is working around the clock because this case just took a turn no one expected. Nancy Guthrie lived in a quiet neighborhood in the Arizona desert. Wide streets, pale stone walls, the kind of stillness that settles over everything when the sun goes down and the heat finally. She was 84 years old. She had a home she loved, a routine that comforted her, and a life she had built over decades. She was not a woman who expected danger. She had no reason to. Her home had a distinctive front driveway, a circular loop that curved in from the street, swept around, and exited forward. It was elegant, practical, the kind of feature that makes life easier for visitors. Nobody realized, until much later, that it also made things easier for someone else entirely. On the night of February 1st, Nancy Guthrie disappeared, and the desert kept its silence. There are things we know, and things we don't. What we know is this: Nancy was there, and then she wasn't. Doorbell camera footage from that night captured something chilling: a figure, dark clothing, dark gloves, moving with purpose near her home in the hours before dawn. This was not a random wandering. This was deliberate. Investigators believe someone came to that house with a plan, a specific, thought-out plan, and part of that plan involved a vehicle. Where that vehicle parked is where everything gets complicated. The original theory pointed to the back of the property, a rear gate, an alleyway, a quiet, concealed exit that would keep things hidden from the street. But something went wrong. A neighbor's dog started barking. In the deep quiet of a Tucson night, that sound carries, high-pitched, insistent, the kind of bark that doesn't stop until someone pays attention, until a porch light flicks on, until a curtain shifts, until a neighbor steps outside to see what has disturbed their animal. For whoever was waiting at that rear gate, the plan was suddenly too risky. They had to move, and so they did, around to the front, to the circle driveway. When the sun came up and the world realized Nancy was gone, investigators arrived, cameras followed, drones lifted into the Arizona sky. And that's when a woman named Maureen O'Connell started watching very carefully. O'Connell is not the kind of person who offers casual opinions. She spent years as a special agent on the FBI's Evidence Response Team, one of the most elite forensic units in the country. She was not a detective. She was not a profiler. She was the person who got down on her knees at crime scenes and coaxed evidence out of surfaces that looked empty to everyone else. She watched the drone footage, frame by frame, with trained eyes that most people simply don't have. And she looked at the driveway, not the back gate, not the front door, not the flower pots, the driveway. Specifically, the decomposed granite that covered it. Here is something most people don't know about decomposed granite. It is everywhere in the American Southwest. Pale, loose, granular. It handles the heat. It absorbs the rain. It looks natural and beautiful in a desert landscape. It also holds tire impressions. When a vehicle rolls across decomposed granite, the weight of the car presses down on those loose granules. It compresses them. It leaves a pattern, the exact shape of the tire surface imprinted in the ground, like a fingerprint, left behind by a vehicle that didn't mean to leave anything at all. But here is the terrifying catch. That impression does not last. Wind disturbs it. Foot traffic destroys it. Another vehicle rolling across the same surface can erase it completely. In a desert environment where the wind moves constantly and the temperature swings cause the ground itself to shift, the window for recovering that impression is brutally short. Hours, not days. And in the early chaos of a high-profile missing person investigation, with vehicles coming and going, investigators moving through the property, media assembling outside, Every minute that passed was another minute of evidence disappearing. O'Connell understood this with a clarity that most people watching the drone footage did not. She was looking for something specific: forensic technicians working the driveway surface, oblique lighting rigs, portable lights positioned almost flat against the ground to rake across the granules and reveal the shadows left by any impression. Technicians on their knees with calibrated rulers, cameras positioned low, capturing everything. She watched, she waited, she didn't see it. That absence, the absence of visible tire impression work in the circle driveway, is what has haunted O'Connell since she first reviewed that footage. She was careful. She is a professional, and professionals don't overstate. She acknowledged clearly that the FBI may have done that work before the drone was flying, before the cameras arrived, at 4 in the morning, in the dark, when no one was watching. But she didn't see it. And what she was describing, had it been captured correctly, could have been extraordinary. The FBI maintains a comprehensive database of tire tread patterns, thousands of them. Every major commercial tire that rolls on American roads. If investigators recover a clean impression, they can compare it against that database and narrow down exactly what kind of tire made it, what kind of vehicle, what size, what model. From a single impression in the gravel, they can build a profile of the vehicle that was there that night, and from the vehicle, they can potentially build a path to the person driving it. That chain, impression to tire, to vehicle, to person, begins on the ground, in the decomposed granite, in the circle driveway that a neighbor's dog may have inadvertently forced a kidnapper to use. But the evidence doesn't stop there. About 2 miles from Nancy's home, in a field near a roadside, investigators found a single black glove. Doorbell camera footage from the night of the disappearance showed a figure wearing dark gloves. The glove recovered from that field appeared to visually match. And inside that glove, DNA. Not Nancy's, an unknown male, someone whose identity has not been publicly revealed. Someone who, if they have ever been arrested for a qualifying offense anywhere in the United States, already has their DNA profile sitting in a federal database called CODIS, a system that searches continuously and can return a match in hours. And if they've never been arrested, genetic genealogy. The same science that identified the Golden State Killer after more than 40 years of freedom. A distant relative uploads their DNA to an ancestry site. Investigators build a family tree. They narrow the branches. They find the person. Both tracks are running simultaneously. The net is being drawn in from every direction. Think about Nancy Guthrie's family for a moment. Think about what it means to not know. Every morning that passes without an answer is its own kind of grief, a grief with no ceremony, no closure, just the endless, exhausting weight of uncertainty, of hoping, of fearing the worst while refusing to stop hoping. Nancy was 84 years old. She was someone's mother, someone's grandmother, someone who had lived a long, full life in a home she chose in a city she loved. She deserved to be safe. And somewhere out there, someone made a decision that took that safety away from her. They planned it, they prepared it, they drove to her home in the dark, and they executed a plan with frightening precision. Except for one thing: a dog barked. And that single unplanned moment, that bark in the dark, may have changed everything. It may have forced a last-minute change. It may have sent that vehicle to the circle driveway instead of the rear gate. It may have pressed tires into decomposed granite that held their shape even for a few hours, even for long enough. Or it may not have. We don't know. That is the unbearable part. The family doesn't know. The investigators haven't said. The ground holds its secret. And whether anyone was looking at it closely enough, at the right moment, with the right equipment, is a question that has not been answered publicly. Somewhere in a federal laboratory, a DNA profile waits for a match. Somewhere in the FBI's Cellular Analysis Division, a map of every phone that was active near Nancy Guthrie's home in the early hours of February 1st is being carefully studied. And somewhere in Tucson, a circled driveway paved in decomposed granite sits in the Arizona sun. It may have already given up everything it had to give, or it may have been disturbed too soon, too many times, by too many feet and too many tires before anyone understood what it was holding. That is the reality of evidence. It does not wait. It does not preserve itself. It exists in a window, sometimes a few hours, sometimes less, and when that window closes, it closes permanently. The people who know how to look understand this. Maureen O'Connell understands this. She has spent a career understanding exactly this. And she looked at that driveway, and she asked the question that no one else was loudly enough asking. Was anyone looking at the right place at the right time? Nancy Guthrie is still missing. The investigation continues. The science is still running. And somewhere, the person who drove that vehicle that night is still out there, living with the knowledge of what they did, and perhaps not yet understanding how much they left behind. DNA doesn't lie. Tire treads don't forget. And the people hunting for Nancy Guthrie are not giving up. Neither are we. If you have any information about the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, please contact the Pima County Sheriff's Department or the FBI tip line immediately.